Chapter 5, Kingdom of Whim. Laura and Frank stepped off the shuttle at the spaceport. A line of beautiful men and women danced to music behind a sign that said, "Welcome to Whim, the planet of love." A statue of the Roman goddess Venus stood in the center. They were quickly escorted to the tramway for their ride to the visitors center. While on their ride, they saw the sky fill up with ships, large ships. "Frank, they sure get a lot of visitors," Laura said, looking up. "What are they?" "Giant cruise ships. They don't look pretty. I wonder what discount line they are," he responded. The tram stopped and the visitors were escorted to the visitor center, most of them watching the ships land as they were prodded indoors. The big doors shut and a video presentation began. A woman appeared on the screen and began to talk. "Welcome to the Kingdom of Whim, where even your fantasies come true. Whim is an open and tolerant world. We do not forbid anything unless it affects others. You are free to visit Garden Street, where all sorts of herbs are sold and openly used, or the red light district, where anyone can fulfill their fantasies without hiding. All vehicles on Whim are automated for your safety. Remember, what happens on Whim stays on Whim." After the video, they were handed several educational guides to the planet. Frank and Laura were arm in arm, holding each other tight. They were escorted to customs and spoke to the officer at the desk. "Welcome to Whim. Do you have anything to declare? Any contraband weapons, religious materials, or banned media?" the clerk asked, taking their passports. Frank seemed stunned. "Religious materials? No, we don't have anything. I thought this was an open society." "Yes, we are open. Now open your bags." The clerk started going through their belongings. "He's going through my underwear," cried Laura. "You're a pervert. Didn't your mother teach you better?" "Now, Laura, don't make a scene," Frank said, trying to calm her down. "A scene? He's not even wearing gloves. Find yourself a girlfriend." "This is the planet Whim. He probably has lots of girlfriends." "Then why does he do this for a living?" At this time, the clerk was about to laugh, but he regained composure and gave their passports back. "Move along," he said, waving them through. "Hey, she looks like Abby," Laura pointed out a woman. "Nah, she's blonde and has too many tattoos." "Why do you have such a big purse? What are you carrying it all over the place?" asked Frank. They walked over to the transit system to wait for their ride to the hotel. While they waited, they noticed a large number of people coming in. These didn't look like normal people. "Laura, I think these are Adlet," Frank said, checking the grip on their bags. The Adlet came in, and the clerks started to question them. One of them took exception to the questions asked and began to make a scene. What started as a single upset Adlet turned into a group of angry visitors and then turned into a mob. "Laura, grab your bag and run!" They started to walk quickly as the mob turned into a small riot. Rocks were starting to be thrown and windows were broken. The guards were overwhelmed and began firing. "Forget the bags, run for your life," said Laura, pulling ahead of Frank and then grabbing him to the next building. They got inside, and the store owner quickly closed the security gates and pulled everyone in the back. Frank asked the shopkeeper, "Do you have a gun?" The shopkeeper turned to him and said, "Guns are illegal on Whim. Only the police have them." "I wish someone told the Adlet that." They all ducked a little lower as gunfire exploded outside the store. A loud bang and a crash sounded as someone tried to get in. An Adlet squeezed his way inside and started to look around through the clothing. Frank jumped out, holding onto the Adlet's back and holding the arm with the gun up high. Laura quickly beat him to the ground with her purse. They took a few belts and tied their victim up by hands and ankles. Frank picked up the gun. "Next one that gets in gets his head blown off." "We have to stay quiet," said the shopkeeper. "Then we'll just use her purse again." "No more bad talk about my purse," she stated. "I love you, dear. I wonder if it's in the water." "They just got here." Zen and Madeline were in the middle of the chaos, trying to calm the crowd. Watching in disbelief at the madness going on around them, Zen climbed to the top of a bus and screamed out, "Calm yourselves. We are here as guests. Why have you all sunk to such madness? Don't you understand that is why others have come to fear us? If we cannot accept graciously the hospitality of others, then where can we go?" One rioter yelled, "They asked for our guns and told us to hide our religious symbols. These beings aren't even human. How can we stand for this? Because we are on their world and we come to seek shelter. They welcomed us here, and we must behave like civilized beings. But they are not civilized. They do out in the open what must not be seen. We cannot live among this. But this is only temporary until the Empire settles the situation or finds us a new home. You must be patient. Never! The protester hit him with a stone, knocking him clear off the bus. Madeline ran to him and rolled him into her arms. Help! Someone help! Zen is injured! She yelled out, but everyone was wrapped up in the riot. Maddie, Zen spoke softly, they've done far worse. What are you talking about? The Warren are coming. We called them. He paused for a moment to cough. We're on the eve of another galactic war. Pray that the Guardians return and the prophecy be true. The leaders of WIM called an emergency session to discuss the riots. They all sat in a secure room called the King's Inner Court. It was not a secret location, but a more secure one. The dust was thick as the room had not been used in ages. This is unprecedented. We've not had an outbreak like this in hundreds of years, said the King's Hand. We've never opened our doors to 3.5 million refugees, said the security minister. There are more on their way. They could number in the tens of millions, said the Hand. The King sat forward. We opened our arms at the behest of the Chancellor. I'm beginning to question his motives. Our request for help seems to have gone on deaf ears. We'll give you all the help you need, Your Highness. Bianca stepped in. She was out of order but felt it was the moment she needed to interject her message. I regret that our actions have pushed the Adlet to your territory. It's because of their lack of civility that drove us to act as we did. Everything comes at a price, said the security minister. Yes, but it's not much. We would like to use your moon as a staging area. It has not been used since the mining accident over a decade ago. After we are through with the Adlet, we will leave WIM except for a small garrison. How long will it take to get help here? Asked the Hand, while the security minister was stunned at even the consideration. A day and a half. We're already prepared. We will confer on this and give you our response later. For now, I wish to seal the chambers. No more outside interference, said the King. The guards escorted Bianca out, and others who did not belong, and closed the doors. The security minister stood. No way should we be entertaining this. The Meeran and Loman have been grabbing territory beyond that of the Adlet. All of it peacefully. They were invited for reasons of security, something Terra Prime is unable to supply, said the Hand. They mean to use our moon as a staging and resupply to extend their assault to Terra Prime. The King spoke. The Chancellor must help us, or the Empire no longer holds meaning for us. If a radioactive moon is the cost, then let them fight over it. I'd much rather the Empire be preserved, but not at the cost of our world or kingdom. Finally, 2 Adlet doctors came to care for Zanar. Madeline was stunned by the news. She could not have imagined that the Empire she once knew was about to be altered beyond recognition. Knowing her friend was cared for, she got up and ran. She ran from the madness to gather her thoughts. She finally stopped by an old alleyway and sat down. Why can't anything ever be black and white? She whispered to herself. It is from my perspective, said Bianca, hiding in the darkness. You're behind this madness. No, I didn't do this. What I have planned is far worse. You and your brothers, your whole family are destroying everything. The prophecy. No, the Chancellor is to blame, as well as the Adlet. His connections with them seem inseparable. Soon he will be gone. They will all be gone, and Jacob will be emperor. Your brother or your lover? I know what you did. What would your brother do if he knew? Why do you make this so easy? She pulled out a gun. So what do you have planned? Madeline was stalling for time. How long do you think you can keep drugging the people of this world? The guards are inept, and the people hide in their homes. What do you think will happen when the drugs wear off? I don't know what you're talking about. The water, you, the chapel, manufacture the drug 3 blocks from here. You ship it planet-wide. What a grand experiment. A world full of love. Too bad they're all doped. She smiled, pointing her gun. I'm going to blow it up and watch this world implode. You're mad! You're dead. Bianca fired into her. Madeline fell to her knees. You can't kill me. I'm everywhere. Bianca fired again. With her last breath, Madeline said with a smile, I already sent the message. She was dead. Gorky, get out here and throw her body into the dumpster. Gorky came out of the shadows. What was that she was talking about? Who knows? They always have their mind-bending chants and mystical beliefs. Hell, they even have a prophecy. Oh, I have to hear this one. They believe a child will be born to an Adlet and Terran, and that it will bring peace to the galaxy and bring us all back to Earth. I didn't think it was possible to interbreed. And what is Earth? A mythical place that is the birthplace of the humans, and therefore the rest of us. Gorky picked her up by a leg and arm and tossed her into the dumpster. Bianca opened a liquid packet and poured it in. Finally, she lit a match and ignited the whole dumpster. These Adlet are so destructive. Let's get back to our room and watch the show. And remind me to call Olivia with the good news. They got into their transport and sped away. Another woman walked down the alley, reached out to the dumpster, and a glowing ball floated to her hand. She held it like a puppy in her hands and said, We are together again, my sister. The rest will soon join us. Back at the presidential suite at the Capitol Hotel, Bianca and Gorky waited for the sun to set. She walked out to the roof balcony, sat on the lawn chair, and crossed her legs. She raised her glass and said, Merlot, please, and top it off. I want to enjoy this evening. Gorky grabbed the bottle of wine, filled her glass, and put a triggering device in her hands. Can't this be tracked back to you? He asked. Nope. The Lomans built these for espionage. They use a quantum bit to communicate, and the trigger completely self-destructs. Very expensive. They only made 5 of these babies. I got 3 of them, but we only need 1 for now. Now sit down. Gorky poured a small glass for himself and sat down. Bianca lifted the trigger and pressed the button. The local temple started to smoke, and small explosions rocked the building. Each explosion grew until the steeple finally fell. You know, Gorky, we blew the one on Meeran up the same way, and we blamed it on the Adlet too. All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They all have their exits and their entrances. She laughed. My communicator, please. Gorky handed it to her, and she started the connection. Olivia, this won't take long. I'll meet you on Frontier. We'll have so much fun. I'm going to see Daddy. Meanwhile, back on Loman, Terrence was readying for a final push to remove the Adlet from all of Loman. He was surrounded by his loyal advisors. We should not have dedicated so many of our soldiers to the WIM operation before finishing what was left here, said his general. Olivia and Jacob have proven too popular with the people. I had no choice but to join them in their mad quest to conquer the Empire. All I wanted was peace from the Adlet. Nevertheless, it is taking longer than expected to achieve that peace, responded Terrence. An officer walked in and delivered Terrence a message. He opened it and began to feel weak in the knees. He sat down and crumpled the paper in his hands as his anger came out. Lashing out, he flipped the table beside him. Sir, bad news? Asked the general. Continue the operation. This will have to wait for later.